years ago I was attempting to fix the D50, and I had two of them, one which had many faults and the other one which was working perfectly. So I thought it would be a good idea to take apart the one that worked and swap it with the parts of the one that didn't work, and then be able to isolate some of the faults. And I think that's possibly quite a good strategy. That might well work. There is one slight problem. I never finished and I never put them back together again. So today I'm getting all the parts together and I'm going to see if I can put them back together. This will be a very interesting memory test. Okay, I've assembled the parts now. This one almost looks like it's complete. I've also got this one. This might be the one that doesn't work. Then I've got a box of bits in there, and I've got two back plates. I can only see one keyboard, so I'm not too sure if I stashed that somewhere else or something. I don't know. Okay, let's have a look in the box. ESC keys. Right, I think. Yeah, okay, so it's a Roland board there. This is the main board. So, good one or bad one, I wonder. This is actually the keyboard. It's the keyboard bed. That much I have remembered. So the question is, where are the keys? Okay, I'm going to have to do a bit more searching. Yeah, so could it be up there somewhere? I got too much stuff. Maybe that box. So here it is. It's going to be fun putting all this stuff back together. Plenty of spare keys if anyone needs them. Screws. Okay. I think that's everything now. So I think I've got everything I need now. I'm just looking at the cosmetic condition of these, and I'm pretty certain now this is the one that was working fine, but there are issues in terms of the silk screen print, which has been damaged quite a lot. There's also quite a lot of scratches around here. So what I'm going to do is possibly swap these around, because if I look at the other one that isn't working, this is almost in mint condition. So it might make more sense to swap these around. There's a scratch up there, but apart from that, obviously cleaning that needs to be done, it looks pretty good. So I'm pretty certain this is the one that's not working properly. It boots fine, but then you just get this horrendous noise. So there's quite a few problems there to be dealt with, and I think we'll find those problems on the main board. Right, I've swapped the main boards over, and let's have a quick listen. That's a bit more like it. So it looks like we've got all good components in this one. Right, I've made up my mind. I'm going to definitely swap these front panels over. I want one which looks as good as it possibly can and works fully. So that's going to be quite a big task. Good thing about these connectors is that it's very difficult to get them back in the wrong place, because they're all different sizes, and so it makes it really hard to plug them in the wrong place. Okay, keyboard out next, I think. Now this can stay. I've taken up the switch panel, and before I put the fully working clean one in, I really want to clean the front panel, so I'll just quickly show you that. So if you look at the dirt which has got in there, that's going to be really difficult to clean without removing the switches. So I'm going to have to take the switches out. Now fortunately I've got loads and loads of double-sided tape, and I should have everything I need to be able to stick them back in again. So I'm just going to have to be really careful taking those out, because if the plastic snaps, then I've got some problems. I tend to find a damp cloth is the best way to go at first. If you find anything which needs to be sorted out with alcohol or white spirit, the other two things, then you have to be careful, particularly if you're trying to clean plastic. Make sure you're not going to melt the plastic or deform the plastic in any way. I think most of this should come off with a damp cloth. There could be some gum-based stuff there, and that might need a bit of alcohol or something. Front panel. The next thing is I've got to put the switchboard back, but there's a bit of a trick here because it's very easy to get dust stuck behind this pane of glass, the display, and you don't want to be looking at that for the next 20 years. So I've got to make sure there's no dust there when I put the board in, so there's going to be a lot of checking there. I think I won't need to use more tape. There's still a bit of stick left on what's here, and the screws of the board will actually hold it in place, so that should be enough. Look how good this looks after a really good clean. Nothing I can do about that scratch at the top. Possibly colour it in with some kind of marker pen, I don't know, but the rest of it is just looking excellent. Okay, so I've got to pick the best of these end cheeks now. So there's some obvious problems here with the rust. I've got some rust remedy, and I may well get round to applying that to this. It's relatively easy, just literally paint it on. You don't try and remove the existing rust. And that will probably be good for this section, but obviously I don't really want to keep the rusty bit, even though it wouldn't be visible. I think that can go into the one that's there for spares. And let's have a look at the other one. Right, so this one's a lot better on the inside, so that's nice and clean. Now have a look at the outside. You can see there's quite a lot of scratches there. And on this one, there really isn't quite so much. Looking at the outside, certain amount of scratching. And I think this one's probably slightly worse on the outside. There's not much in it, but the top is probably the bit that could be improved. So what I'm going to do is take these apart, and I'll take the best bits from this one and the best bits from this one and put it together. Okay, I've swapped all the parts around now, and as you can see, the rusty one is now with the scratched up bit of plastic, and the non-rusty one is with a nice clean bit of plastic. So that's really going to look good. Okay, so I've done the side parts now. They're reattached, again picking the best bits. Front panel's done, switches are done, so the next thing really is the keyboard. So I've got to see what's available. So I've got two keyboards which I can use. I've got this one which looks fine, but if you look a bit closer you see suspicious burn marks, and then that's weird, isn't it? I mean, is that blue tack? I had no idea that blue tack would stain plastic keys, but I guess it makes sense. There's quite a lot of scratches on some of these black keys as well. It's difficult to see, perhaps in this light. And the other keyboard I've got is in here. So ideally I want to swap out the keys which are on this keyboard, which are damaged or scratched or scuffed or whatever, with any in here which are in better condition. There's a couple of things you have to do to get the keys on and off the keyboard, and one is there's this plastic strip which goes here, and that stops the keys slipping forward, which is how they come out. I can see it's actually missing here, so I might put one in afterwards. It doesn't matter if the plastic strip isn't there, because it's not that actually fixes them in place. Okay, so if I turn the keyboard over, then you can see I've already removed a spring here. I'm going to replace this key. It's the spring that keeps them there, and so you need to remove that plastic strip in order to shift that backwards so that it then lifts out. Okay, the strip's removed, and it's actually you pull them forward to get them out, and that's how it's done. Right, if you have a look at those springs, then you'll notice that one is longer than the other, and the longer one is for the black keys. And it's worth remembering that, but at the same time, if you do get confused, then all you've got to do is just check which there is most of, and whatever's most of is going to be the white keys. You can't really get that wrong. Now I think I've got the best keys on there. Looks pretty reasonable, about as good as you'd expect something that is over 30 years old. Okay, so it's time to reattach the keyboard to the rest of the synth. And now I've just got to put the motherboard back in there and get all the connectors in the right place. Okay, so it's complete. Well, the first one is. This one works. I'm going to have to do some testing, make sure there's no faults, anything that I haven't quite worked out that isn't working correctly. But it looks amazing. I mean, it really does look so good. Really worth the effort. Spent the whole day doing this, and yeah, I'm really happy with the result. It looks amazing. And even better, it works. Love it. So one synth completed and another one to do. Next one won't work, of course, but